Hey guys, this is Karen. Love your show. You know how Bob likes to have his favorite things and his least favorite things? I always wondered who was Bob's, and all of you, least favorite manager. Like, is Sweaty the worst? Or Wooden Teeth? So it'd be fun to hear you guys rank your least favorite previous managers by nickname. Thanks. Bye.
Wow.
This is a fun assignment for you, Bob.
Shall I take this?
I wish you would.
Yeah. Okay. Well, give me just a second here. Okay.
It's a rich mind, isn't it?
I think it really is.
Rich.
Yeah, it really is. Before I start, let me just say, we're just not bust. They would bust on us. I know what our nickname was from all of those people I'm about to mention. The nickname was those two. That's how we were referred to. Those two. Okay. So they were doing it too. So this is an ascending. Let me get this one here. This is in an ascending order. The first couple, are good people. They just were managing us at a difficult time. So it starts off with Cufflinks, who is a good guy, a really good guy. Always wore very expensive cufflinks. The second one is Two-Face, basically good guy, but kind of put a torpedo in us without our knowing. The next one is the Statue. And we call him the Statue because he actually said he did such a good job for the company, they should put a statue out in front of the building.
Spoiler alert, they did not put up a statue because he did not do a great job for the company.
Exactly. The next one, Skeletor. We called this person Skeletor because she kind of looked like the Tales from the Crypt creature, And she was the one who invented the phrase, those two. Right above Skeletor is Bob Hader. She accused me of throwing away a valuable radio log, which I did not. Then there's Mr. Middle Manager, who wanted us to stop by every day and let him know we were leaving so that we would not leave too early. Then there was this guy. This guy was not working with Sheri, but I worked with him briefly in television. Chinless. This guy had no chin, and he grew a beard, and he puffed out the beard at the end to give him the look of a chin. And then there was Sweaty, who nearly had a heart attack at a staff meeting as he dominated completely while eating pizza. There was the Pervert. This is when I started out in radio. The Pervert opened up a staff meeting once, giving us explicit details of what he was doing with one of our female employees. Then we really get to the top 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go.
Good Lord.
The Boston Blowhard. I think we know who he is. We had to be called when he would come to visit into the manager's Cufflinks office, and we would have to smile and dance. Meanwhile, behind our back, he was saying blank Bob and Sheri. Number 3 is the Woman Hater. This was a guy who called me into his office and said, "Do we have a problem?" And I said, "We do." "Well, what's the problem?" I said, "You walked into our studio and you went over to Sheri and said, I could let you go for having your feet up on that console like that. And then you said you started flicking her papers the next day with your pen." And he said,
I appreciate you standing up for me, but when that guy said, "What if I told you I don't like your feet up on the counter?" And I replied with, "What if I told you I think you're a hole?"
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
Yeah, that's right. My conversation with him ended by him saying, "Well, all women are bees." Then we're right at the top 2. Number 2 is Wooden Teeth, who wanted to change the name of the show. This is when we were first together, to Lucy and Lacey, and I just don't know why. He was out of his mind.
Because I was going to be loosey goosey.
And finally, at the top, and there's really no one near him, Shoe Polish Hair. Shoe Polish Hair, who is just flat nuts.
Instant access to the podcast, and fun side. Just download the free Bob and Sheri app.
I got stuck in Reagan Airport, which is a good airport, for 7 hours. And I can't remember the last time I was anywhere outside of my house for 7 hours, let alone in an airport, not knowing because of the storm whether I could get there or it was just miserable. And Sherry did a great job of getting us there with on the spot relocation locations and places to stay and so on. So that was really good. Seeing Stephen King's house in Bangor with you guys was really fun. I've
cool.
driven by it, but it was like just a drive by. But we had about 2 hours off between appearances, and we decided to pull in. And there were a couple of other groups there of 5 or 6 people. The house is spooky looking, as you would suspect. It's a mansion on probably the prettiest street in Bangor. There's some other really beautiful homes very close to it too, and it's got the wrought iron fence with the bats and everything. I don't think that Stephen and his wife are there 12 months out of the year. In fact, locals were saying he is not there all the time, but it's beautifully kept up, and it's great. You can just stand in front of it and get a shot. And even if he didn't live there, it's worth seeing. Bangor has turned into quite an exciting town. The other thing I loved, did I not pick the right lobster pound to have dinner that night? Young's Lobster Pound in Northport, Maine. That was my directive. It was like, all right, Bob, you got to find. Sherry's got the places to stay. You got to find a place to eat. And the Lobster Pound is a place where it's basically a restaurant that's very, very, very rough-hewn, casual, built on the water on a dock with picnic tables. And so we showed up. And I researched this place and I knew about this place. I might even have eaten there one time. And you go in and the lobsters are swimming around in this, they've just been caught and they're in this holding tank. And the guy picks them up and he says, What size do you want? 1.5 pounds? I said, 2 pounds. We got 6 people. He goes, oh, I'm gonna have to find those. And then he reaches in and he gets them, and it's a hard shell lobster, which for me, the meat is better and sweeter and everything. And so he says, yeah, I can get them all for you. You want the shore dinner, some steamers with it and some corn. Only thing, we don't have alcohol here. We don't. You have to bring your own. All of a sudden, I'm going, where's Lamar? Where did Lamar go?
He went to BYOB.
On a mission, baby. On a mission. On a mission.
Well, they were steaming the lobsters. Lamar took the rental car and went off and got a couple of bottles of wine and brought it back. And we sat out there at sunset, and it was absolutely delightful. It was a really good time. But of course, it sounds like I'm, just kind of bowing to the people that we owe our careers to, and I guess I am. It was lovely to see so many people. Yeah, and we should. It was lovely to see so many people. Some of them we've known for years, like Becky Sutherland. Others, we've worked with local stations and everything. Bruce, hello, Bruce. But it was just to see family after family, and some of these folks, were saying, I was in high school or I was in, middle school when I started listening to you guys. And this is my 4-year-old, you just go, how can that happen? How can anybody be with us for so long, for so many years? And every single person was just so sweet. The Scone Goddess was great. And we had a really good time. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I was trying to, and one of my friends said to me, how did you guys do all of that? Well, we like to build an itinerary that excludes sleep. So
Right.
what we do is we just schedule every hour in the 24-hour time period. You'd be surprised what you can get done if all you do is move. If you think about how much we did in that short amount of time, it's pretty wild.
Sign up for our newsletter. We never spam you.
Never did.
Get Bob and Sheri exclusives. Just go to bobandsheri.com.
Did you guys know that the word please is rapidly falling away from use? Did you know? This shocked me. This shocked me so much that only 7% of the time people making a request are using the word please. Think about that.
I
7%.
believe that. I if somebody says the word please, it really makes a difference to me. It really does.
Yes, that's a big word.
It's one syllable. Why is it so hard when it's your turn and you get to the counter to add the word please to I'll have the grilled chicken sandwich and an iced tea. Please. Or with, like maybe with your coworkers or how is it that 93% of the time when we make a request, we're not using the word please? What's happened?
Does it have the same weight for people that it once did when people hear it? Does that make things easier, or is it just goes by?
To me, it's like I don't even think about it. I mean, I guess I was one of those kids that was drilled with what's the magic word? Like please and thank you. Okay. I would have, if you would have said to me, please is on the way out, and about 50-50, half the time people aren't using it. But this, and according to, this was in Social Psychology Quarterly, even the people who did this at UCLA said, we were shocked. We were shocked at 7% of the word please. So think about now, let's put our thinking hats on, which are not made of tinfoil. Let's put our thinking hats on. And when was the last time you really noticed a big please coming your way? Okay, I'm going to take that as an answer.
I really can't.
Well,
other than at work. I mean, those of you here at work, if somebody asks me to do something, I'll get a please. If you ask me, Sheri, if you ask me to do, could you please do this? You'll use the word, and it does. It greases the skids. To me, it does.
Well, it just seems to me like it's basic human courtesy. I'm so shocked when I was literally sitting at my kitchen island. The sun wasn't even up, and I'm scrolling through all my different stuff, and I hit that, and I thought, I didn't read that right. Let me go back. There's no way I read that 93% of the time we're not asking for things and adding a please to it. And I know because I used to be married to one of these people that are like, it's their job to give me a chicken sandwich. It is their job to give you a chicken sandwich. And saying please and thank you cost you nothing and doesn't change the quality of your chicken sandwich. Like, why are you such a bag of D's?
Here's your job as a human being is to interact with another human being who is no less than you in some kind of a civil way that makes their day a little bit better. How about that?
Leave us a talkback with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Hi, this is Judy, and you're just doing the thing about saying please and thank you. The one that drives me crazy is when you say thank you and someone says no problem instead of you're welcome.
Wow.
That drives Bob crazy.
It's a generational thing. It really is a generational thing. I don't know exactly when it kicked in. I'm going to guess around 12 years ago, something like that. You say no problem?
I say it too.
I do.
I do too. Everybody does.
Never say it. I never say it. It's just,
Is it
to me, it's
offensive?
kind of just, it is. And I'll tell you why. And I'm not trying to
Holy
be,
shit.
with a stick up my butt here, but it's like somebody has done something for me, and it could be a minor thing, and I thank them for the minor thing. The no problem is like, well, it could have been a problem, but in my benevolence, I'm going to let you feel that it was no problem. Why can't you just say you're welcome? I mean,
See, I don't hear it. I don't hear it that way, Bob. I say thank you to someone, and they say no problem, and what I hear is, it was not an issue at all. I was happy to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't hear it that way. I've never heard it that way, and it's got to be a generational thing. I admit. So I don't make a big deal out of it. But if you, let me just say this though, if you're a young person and you're coming out of, let's say you went to college and you go into a corporate situation. And there are some older people, men and women, that control this business. And you do something for one of the executives, and the executive says, thank you. And you say, no problem. Turn your back and walk out of the room. I'm telling you, that's going to land like a big old wet fish on that board of directors table or wherever it is.
I I
It's not
guess
businesslike.
I guess how most of these transactions, thank you, no problem, are like in retail settings. But I guess how I
True.
feel about it landing like a wet fish in a corporate setting, um, it,
It's
the
too
lack of
casual.
loyalty, the lack of loyalty to workers, and the exploitation of people's time and labor, where you're just expected to give your whole life to a job, and then they can fire you, lay you off without the
Oh, but
slightest damn about your well-being. Let me
I know.
finish. And they can also lock your hours in just below the threshold where they have to give you benefits. Thank you, no problem. Like
Well, then quit.
I hear what
Well,
you're
then
saying,
quit.
but we don't
And,
live in
and
that world anymore. We don't live in that
you
world
can't.
anymore where a person's going to climb the ladder. You know,
Yes,
we
we
don't.
do. Yes, we do. It still exists. It's not like you get one job for the rest of your life. There are people who are going to go out there and they're going to climb the ladder, and maybe they don't get to the top because for whatever reason. But if you're in that corporate setting and you're saying to yourself, they're not paying me enough. I don't have this and that. You're being casual and flippant, which is the way it's going to be looked at by corporate eyes, is not going to help you any. You have
Let
to
me
play the
say,
card you're dealt.
I have no idea what it's like to work in a business where there's any sort of appropriate boundaries. My first big corporate meeting with a big corporate manager, that man put his feet up on the desk, spread his legs, and called me baby girl. So no problem. I don't work for JP Morgan. I don't work for, I don't know, Kaiser Permanente. I have spent my whole life in a business where nobody behaves like an appropriate adult.
I'm
So
not
yeah,
arguing with you,
I
but this is an anomaly. This is an anomaly. I've been in
Mhm.
corporate because I've had friends that work for banks, and they've given me tours. And I went into the boardroom of what is now Wells Fargo in Charlotte, and it was the biggest table I've ever seen in my life. And the idea that I would bring something over, a paper over to one of these guys sitting at this board, and they say, "Thank you." And I go, "No problem." Uh-uh. Doesn't work. It's just the way it is.